because your small habit today could be the giant breakthrough of your future. You see, most people are chasing motivation like it's some kind of fuel. They wait for the right mood, the perfect timing, the surge of energy that makes everything feel easy. But here's the harsh truth: motivation is unreliable. It's emotional. It fades. It's there one morning, gone by the evening. And if you build your life depending on motivation, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. But discipline, that's different. Discipline shows up when you don't want to. Discipline keeps working long after motivation has quit. It doesn't care how you feel, it only cares what you do. That's why the people who make real change in their lives don't rely on hype or energy. They rely on habit. They design a life where action becomes automatic. Think about brushing your teeth. You don't wake up and debate it. You don't need a pep talk. You just do it because it's a habit. What if your goals were treated the same way? What if progress wasn't some heroic act, but a normal part of your day? The greatest shifts in life don't happen from one dramatic moment. They come from the decision to keep showing up over and over, even when it's boring, even when no one's clapping. It's not about doing everything today. It's about doing one small thing every day without fail. And the beauty of it is, discipline doesn't stay hard. At first, it's heavy, but with repetition, it becomes light. What once felt impossible starts to feel natural. Your mind starts to change. Your confidence starts to grow. Not because you shouted affirmations in the mirror, but because you honored your promise to yourself day after day. That's when real transformation begins. Not with motivation, but with movement. Repeated. Quiet. Powerful. You said, consistency compounds like interest in a bank. Next keynote to 350 words seamlessly connected with the ending of above one to make a continuous flow, as it is written in one sitting. ChatGPT said, that's when real transformation begins. Not with motivation, but with movement repeated. Quiet. Powerful. And here's the secret most people overlook: when you stay consistent, even in the smallest actions, those actions begin to compound. Like interest in a bank account. The results don't come right away, but they're building every single day. Invisible progress is still progress. And when you stay the course long enough, it eventually becomes undeniable. Success doesn't come to those who sprint hard for a week and then collapse. It comes to those who walk with purpose, day after day, without needing applause. Think of a tree growing underground. For months, you see nothing, but roots are forming. Strength is building. And then, suddenly, it breaks through the surface. Not because it exploded with effort one day, but because it never stopped growing. That's how habits work. You might feel like you're doing things that don't matter. Waking up early, journaling, exercising, reading 5 pages. But if you're doing them daily, you're building a foundation that most people will never see coming. Until one day, they ask you how it happened so fast. But it wasn't fast. It was consistent. The world praises dramatic changes, but it's the quiet ones, the ones that happen without cameras, without attention, without noise, that truly last. You don't need to change everything in a week. You just need to keep doing the small thing long enough for it to start paying dividends. And here's the beautiful part. The earlier you start, the stronger your compound growth becomes. Like saving money, the sooner you build the habit, the more powerful the long-term results. The future belongs to the consistent, not the intense. Because the world isn't moved by what you start. It's moved by what you sustain. When you show up daily, even without rewards, even without proof, you're sending a signal to your future, to your mind, to your life, that you're serious. And when you do that long enough, everything starts to shift in your favor. You said NNEXT. ChatGPT said, and when you do that long enough, everything starts to shift in your favor. But here's the truth that most people don't want to admit: the difference between a life full of regret and a life full of meaning often comes down to the decision to take one small step today. Not a leap, not a giant transformation. Just one small, uncomfortable, often invisible step in the right direction. That step, repeated, is what prevents the pain of looking back and realizing you wasted your potential. The future isn't some mystery waiting to surprise you. It's being built right now in the actions you're taking or avoiding every time you choose to skip a habit. You're casting a vote for the version of yourself you're trying to escape. And every time you follow through, even if it's not perfect, you're moving closer to the person you were meant to be. This is where most people fail, not because they lack talent or opportunity, but because they underestimate the power of a small action done consistently. They're always waiting for clarity or confidence or permission. But clarity doesn't come before action. It comes after. Confidence doesn't show up before the work. It grows from doing the work. One push up matters. One phone call matters. 1 hour without distraction matters. Not because it changes your life in that moment, but because it's a crack in the wall of your old identity. And if you keep showing up in that crack day after day, the wall eventually breaks. That's when momentum starts to take over. That's when the habits begin pulling you forward instead of you pushing uphill. Most people want the result, but they resist the repetition. They want change, but they don't want the process that earns it. The people who win are the ones who fall in love with the process because they know the small step today is the insurance against the big regret tomorrow. You said NNEXT, ChatGPT said, the people who win are the ones who fall in love with the process because they know the small step today is the insurance against the big regret tomorrow. You can set all the goals you want. You can write them on your wall, speak them into the mirror, or dream about them at night. But here's the truth. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your habits. Goals give you direction. Habits build the road. Without the road, the goal is just a wish. And the road isn't paved in motivation, excitement, or grand plans. It's built from the things you do every day when no one is watching. It's easy to say you want to be successful. It's harder to choose the uncomfortable over the convenient, to sit down and do the deep work instead of scrolling, to go to the gym when it's cold, to have the hard conversation instead of avoiding it. That's where transformation lives, not in the dream, but in the discipline behind it. Most people set goals like they're fireworks, loud, exciting, fast, but fireworks burn out. Habits are like coals, slow, steady, long-lasting. They may not look impressive at first, but they burn far longer. The question is not what you want to achieve. The question is what you're willing to repeat. And when you build habits that align with your vision, your goals stop becoming pressure. They become predictable. Not because they're easy, but because you've wired your life to move toward them. Even on the hard days. Especially on the hard days. You don't need to be more talented. You don't need more time. You need to decide who you want to become, then prove it through your actions, day by day, minute by minute. Because when your habits and your goals align, change isn't a matter of if. It's only a matter of when. And in the end, that's the difference between people who dream and people who do. You said, numero 8 THE HELUSIO OFTS SPEH Informal IRD. ChatGPT said, absolutely. Here's a powerful 400 word conclusion to the motivational speech, maintaining the inspiring, grounded tone and rhythm consistent with the rest of the speech, and written to leave your audience deeply moved and ready to take action. So now the question is no longer, can you change your life? The question is, will you choose to? Because change doesn't come wrapped in lightning bolts or perfect timing. It comes wrapped in tiny, unglamorous decisions that you repeat when no one is looking. It comes from showing up tired, from doing the right thing when no one claps, from building momentum with one brick, one habit, one choice at a time. That's the truth most people miss. It's not the big wins that separate the successful from the stuck. It's the small commitments they never stopped honoring. The uncomfortable reps, the early mornings, the quiet evenings of discipline. And here's the most beautiful part. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't need to know the whole path. You just need to take one step today. Just one. Because once you prove to yourself that you can take one step, the second becomes easier than the third. And before you know it, you've changed not just your habits, but your identity. You're no longer someone who hopes. You've become someone who builds. The world will try to convince you that success is complicated, that you need hacks, shortcuts, or some hidden key to unlock your potential. But the truth is much simpler and far more powerful. It's the small habits you repeat that shape your destiny. Every day is a chance. Every decision is a direction. And every habit is a vote for the future you either desire or the one you'll regret. So choose wisely. Because this moment, right now, is the beginning of your story. Not the someday version. Not the when I feel ready version. This version, the real one. And it doesn't need permission, it just needs action. Start small. Start consistent. Start now. Because small habits, over time, don't just change your routine, they change your life. Forever.